Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm sharing 20 self-care activities for low energy days that you can all do from home. This can be anything from just not feeling your best. Maybe you woke up feeling a little bit tired and physically low. Maybe mentally, emotionally, you're feeling a little bit down in the dumps. Maybe you've been dealing with some heavy stuff and you feel a bit drained by it. Or maybe it's that time of the month and you simply just want to slow down and take care. Or maybe you don't even know the reason, you just know that you are not feeling your best. We all have those days. One of the things I've learned over the recent years is to try and make space for days like this, to allow myself to feel however I'm feeling, to take things extra slow and to take a little break from things. I've learned some activities that help me to get back to a more regulated nervous system, checking in with my body and not ignoring its signals. So these are the exact same self-care activities that I always do that help me feel better. So today I'm not going to be talking about things like going for a walk, doing a workout, cleaning something, or going to a cafe, because while all of those things are amazing, helpful self-care activities, when I'm having a truly low energy day, I myself don't even feel like leaving the house or doing anything that costs too much effort. So these ideas are truly low effort that I can do no matter how I'm feeling. And these are great to do if I have a whole day off, like in the weekend. But I also like to sometimes pick one or two of these activities when I only have a little bit of time, and then they also work wonders. This video is also sponsored by Skillshare, and I'll tell you more about them later. For now, feel free to join me, grab yourself something lovely to drink. I have some green tea here with pear and matcha. So feel free to grab yourself something nice and let's talk about it. Alright, so let's start with my number one go-to activity that I basically always do on days like this, and that is reading in bed. Reading for fun is already something that really helps me no matter how I'm feeling, and lately I've been reading a lot more often in bed because I really notice on days like this that it truly helps me to feel rested more so than reading on the couch or in my reading spot does. I know for me, and please let me know in the comments if you can relate to this, but I find it more restful when I can actually relax the muscles in my body and especially around my shoulder and my neck area. So when I'm reading in bed, I'm all snuggled up, I'm comfortable, my whole body feels more relaxed. I can actually truly rest and then focus on reading my book. Usually I make it extra nice for myself by putting on some relaxing music, making myself a cup of tea that I have on my nightstand, and then just cozying up with my book. And before I do this, I do always quickly ask myself if it is okay if I fall asleep, because oftentimes when I'm really tired and I'm reading already makes me sleepy. And then if I'm also in bed, it's just there's a really good chance that I'm going to be falling asleep. So I kind of ask myself if that is okay, and then I set my alarm for if that happens. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I want to relax, but I don't want to fall asleep. So then I try to kind of like do something active every once in a while, like maybe do some stretches or something to make sure I don't fall asleep. But when I'm reading a good book, it feels really nice to kind of just escape into the story, live life through the characters, and yeah, it always just makes me feel better. Number two that I love to do is snuggling up with a blanket. And blankets always have this really like soothing, relaxing quality to them, for me anyway. I don't own a weighted blanket, but I have read that these can help with reducing anxiety as well. So if you do have experience with a weighted blanket, I would love to hear from you in the comments. But this is the blanket that I often use. I bought this for myself last year. It is a Stardew Valley blanket, one of my favorite games. And this is actually quite heavy also. So snuggling up underneath this blanket, whether it is on the couch or in my reading chair, or just kind of like wearing it around the house as a cape of some sorts, really helps with me anyway to feel a little bit better and to feel comforted. It's very comforting feeling. It also kind of reminds me of when I was a kid and maybe I was stuck at home with like the flu or something, and then I would be on the couch underneath my blanket from my bed, and that always felt really like safe and comforting. So this is kind of like recreating that feeling for yourself. Number three is something that I also always do and would always recommend, is to take actual physical distance from your phone if you can. So what I like to do is put it in another room, put it away in a closed drawer, or in my case we also have a phone tray that I can put it and just not have it near me. On days like this, it really helps me to focus on real life and not get sucked into the online world, doom scrolling, or reading the news, reading emails, things like that just kind of takes me out of it. So I like to take physical distance from my phone so that I actually feel also mentally a little bit distant and I can actually focus on the real life sensations around me rather than on my devices. Number 4 is doing some gentle stretches. There is something already so soothing and healing for me just lying on the floor or lying on a yoga mat. And it feels really nice to feel that gravity kind of pull on you a little bit. It feels nice how my bones feel on the floor. It is a soothing quality. And also on your head, just like nodding yes and no a little bit on the floor. It feels really nice. And just lying on the floor already gives you also a different perspective, literally, because you're on the floor, so you see things differently. And that is always nice to kind of like take me out of my inner world if I'm experiencing some kind of emotional turmoil, to just go lie down on the floor. And then of course the gentle stretching, the breathing. It is scientifically proven that this helps to relieve stress, anxiety, things like that. But it's also just really nice. So sometimes I do something like this on my own, or just go lie down on the floor for a little bit. Sometimes I will do a yoga workout video that is very gentle, mostly just stretches. I always go to Yoga with Adrian YouTube channel if anyone is interested. So that really helps, and it is one of my go-tos as well. It's a very nice tea, and I always find it so funny when it's like green tea and matcha, and then you look on the packaging, it's like less than 1% matcha. Or this actually has, I think, 1 or 2%. I can't really taste it though. But I can taste the pear. The pear is nice. All right, number 5, a really important one that I don't want to skip out on, even on days like this, and that is basic hygiene. I'm talking just taking a shower, brushing my teeth, flossing, putting on clean socks, things like that. Just basic taking care of your own hygiene. I know that on some days this can already feel like a little bit much, but I do notice that if I skip on even one of these things, it never helps me to feel better. So on days like this, I might not do my full skincare routine. I might not go, epilate my legs or wash my hair or do something a little bit more involved, a little bit more high effort. But I will always do the basic things because I know that that will help me to feel better. I am often wearing my comfy clothes whenever I'm at home. That just always helps me to feel better. But if I'm wearing a pajama set that, could be thrown in the wash, I will do that. Or if I have like a toothpaste stain or something like that, that's not going to make me feel better walking around with a big giant toothpaste stain on my pajamas. So taking care of yourself like that truly helps, even if it feels a little bit difficult sometimes. Number 6 is eating ready-made things that are kind of healthy, or at least healthy-ish. So this one requires a little bit of prep beforehand, but something that I have been trying to do more recently is to make sure that I have some ready-made foods in the house for days when I feel really low energy and I don't want to cook, and I especially don't want to go grocery shopping. And then if I can at least have something nourishing and healthy and yummy and tasty to eat. So when I'm grocery shopping, I try to think about if I have some things like this in the house, and if I don't, I will just get them for whenever I have one of those days. So maybe it is one of those like glass jars that has these really nice soups that you can just put some hot water in and heat up. Maybe it's a frozen meal with some pasta, some veggies, just something nourishing to help me fuel my body, but it is still very low effort, and this will help me feel a lot better than if I'm just ordering in junk food or just getting by on a cracker here or there. I need food. Frankly, I'm not someone who skips meals. Even when I'm sick and I have a flu or something, I'm not eating any less. I probably will be eating even more. So eating is one of my favorite things. I don't want to skip out on even a single meal, even when I'm really tired and I don't feel like cooking. So just having a few things like this on hand really helps me on days like this. Number 7 is my ultimate sensory combo. I've talked about this before on the channel, but it's one of my favorite things to do as a self-care activity, and that is to take a warm shower and then use something really fragrant that smells really nice, like a body oil or a body butter or I don't know, something you really enjoy that smells very nice, and then putting on some clean pajamas, go sit on the couch with a cup of tea. It's truly very simple, but really magical. The sensory stuff just feels really nice. The feeling of the warm water on your skin, the smell of the stuff that you're using, like the lotion, your pajamas, that feels really comfortable. Like, the sensory thing helps me to get out of my head and into the present moment a little bit more, like the smell of your tea and things like that. And it also reminds me of when I was a kid and we would like go take a bath before going to bed, and then after the bath you were allowed to like sit on the couch and like watch Sesame Street or something before going to bed. You know, that kind of moment that you had as a kid. I like to kind of recreate that for myself doing this. Number 8 is also something I love to do on low energy days, and that is flipping through a physical photo album. This is one of the reasons why I personally really like having physical photo albums around, because this is so much nicer to just flip through an album rather than looking at the photos on your phone or on your screen on your laptop. I might take out an album that has pictures from a trip that we did like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It is so much fun to flip through these pages and kind of like relive the experiences. Maybe if I'm feeling particularly nostalgic, I might grab, you know, a picture book with pictures from my childhood or things like that. I often find that this does lift my spirits a bit. It's nice to relive those memories, and it's also just a really relaxing thing to do, maybe again with a cup of tea or something like that, to just flip through an album. And if you don't have albums, maybe you could make a few. You know, I do recommend it. Even as a minimalist, I like to have physical photo albums around. Number 9 is to adjust the lighting in your home to how it feels good for you. And this is something that I especially recently have come to really embrace and acknowledge about myself, and accept that on days like this, oftentimes I'm very sensitive to strong light and daylight and things like that. And oftentimes when I'm already tired or overstimulated or overwhelmed, the light is just too much for me. So I close the windows even on, you know, a sunny day, or especially on a sunny day, and make it a little bit darker. And sometimes I even like to make it really kind of dark and only use a little bit of mood lighting here or there, or light some LED candles here and there to kind of soothe my nervous system. This is funny because I don't know about you, but especially here in the Netherlands, you often hear the sentiment of opening the windows, let in the sunlight, let in the fresh air, you know, open the drapes and things like that to kind of lift your mood. And I'm sure that it does work like that for many people. If you're one of those people, definitely do that. But I've noticed that for me, sometimes this only makes me feel more overstimulated and more tired. And it actually really helps to kind of like shove myself into this dark little cave. And I've come to realize that that is also okay. It just depends on what works for you. Number 10 is doodling. Creative expression can be so nice, and it is really important. And I always find that it has the power to kind of lift me out of a slump, or when I'm feeling in a rut, to just have some form of creative expression. But for me, on low energy days, making something that is a little bit more involved sometimes feels like too much effort. And the solution to that, I find, is doodling. I have been into doodling more and more recently. I find it so fun, and it is such a nice, easy way to get that creative expression, but not feel like intimidated or like it's too daunting. And the good thing about doodling as well is that it takes no time to set it up. You hardly need any supplies. You probably have some kind of paper somewhere in your house and like a pen or a pencil or something, and you can doodle on the couch or on the table or like wherever feels comfortable for you. And here's where I quickly want to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare, because I really owe a large part of my creative activities to their classes. Like, I've learned so much from them. I've been so inspired by their fantastic teachers on there, including my recent doodling endeavors. Skillshare is an online learning platform where you can take classes on basically whatever you want to learn about, and I've been taking their classes for years. I have learned so much from them for this channel with videography and things like that, but also with my personal life. If there is something that I'm interested in, curious about, want to try or get better at or learn, then Skillshare is always my #1 go-to place. Maybe you'd like to learn sewing and knitting, or maybe you'd like to take a music class and learn how to play piano or guitar or sing. Maybe you want to get better at cooking. Maybe you want to learn how to write a story, or watercolor painting, or gardening, or starting your own online business. Really, there's thousands of amazing classes on there, so whatever you want to learn, Skillshare has you covered. And what I especially love is that I am learning from real people who are industry experts at what they're doing, and they're teaching me real skills. And in the age of AI, this is just something that I really appreciate, and it makes learning very accessible. I'm now taking a class from Sharon Stevens called Doodling for Relaxation, and this is honestly one of my favorite classes ever. I love how fun all the different doodles are. Her voice is super relaxing as well. So first she teaches you some basic shapes, and then she also lets you doodle on your own. All you need is a pen and some paper. It's so easy to get started with, so this is a class that I highly recommend. And you can try out Skillshare for free, because the first 500 people to click my link in the description box or scan this QR code right there can get a 1-month free trial, so you can try all the classes you want. If it's not for you, then you can cancel within your trial and you won't be charged, but I'm pretty sure that you will love it as much as I do. So big thanks to Skillshare for supporting the channel, and let's get back to the video. Number 11 is to take 10 minutes to experience what you're feeling and let it out. Something that is a habit that I used to do and that I'm trying to not do anymore is to kind of stuff my own feelings down. So this is how I try to just feel my feelings for a little bit and process things. And there is a song that I often use for this. It is called Ask Me Anything from Joe Hisaishi. I am a really, really, really big Joe Hisaishi fan. And his song Ask Me Anything, you can find it on YouTube. There's something about the first couple of chords, like 3 or 4 chords into the song, and I'm already bawling like a baby. I don't know what it is. It just hits something in me emotionally. It's nice to allow space for yourself to kind of let it all out, break down a little bit, and then just kind of, you know, brush it off and go on with your day instead of just continually trying to stuff things down. This is one of the things that I do for that. And when it comes to music in general, I also just really like to put on relaxing music or nature sounds or lo-fi or something to kind of trigger a more relaxed mood. I don't sometimes even like hear it consciously, but it's on the background and it just kind of sets the mood for me to have a more relaxing time. Number 12 are comfort movies or comfort shows, something that you've seen again and again and again and that you always really enjoy. You already know what's going to happen, like there's no stress and it's just very like soothing and comforting. If you've seen more videos from me, you probably know that for me, my comfort movies are always Studio Ghibli movies. There's something so healing about them for me. They're so nostalgic. They get me into a kind of like reflective mood, but in a more like, I don't know, spiritual way or something. It's just really, really nice. So for me, it's always Studio Ghibli movies. Number 13 is drinking tea with nothing. And what I mean by that is not a movie or music or a video or a podcast or a book or anything else, just you with a cup of tea. We are often very overstimulated when it comes to content, and as much as I love all of these things that I just mentioned, sometimes it's really nice to just have silence and to let your mind just do its thing. You don't even like have to pay attention to it. You don't have to meditate if you don't want to, but just kind of like let your mind process the things. It's really important to do that occasionally, and I often find that when I take a minute of silence, my mind feels so relieved. It's like my mind was thirsty and I'm finally like drinking a glass of water. Like that kind of feeling, like, oh, it's so nice to just not have anything crammed into your brain, but just having a cup of tea to focus on the warmth of the cup in your hands, the smell of the tea, the taste and things like that to kind of anchor you in the moment and not distract yourself with something else is really, really nice. Speaking of which, number 14 is tea over coffee. So this is a personal preference of mine, but I like to take care on days like this when it comes to caffeine and not drink a lot of coffee and kind of make sure that I'm not caffeinating myself so much. On days like this, I usually prefer to just kind of let myself feel how tired I really am and not mask it by drinking more caffeine, if you get what I mean. So I'm inviting in rest and relaxation, so it's okay if I feel a little bit tired. In fact, that sometimes helps with ruminating less and having less anxious thoughts if I'm just too tired to think too much. So that is something that I always try to keep in mind. Number 15 is making the bed. Kind of similar to the personal hygiene one. It might be tempting to just, get out of bed and let it be. But I never feel better when I see my bed and it's all like messy and stuff. It just doesn't look inviting. And also some of these self-care activities that I do are in bed. So I want to make sure that my bed looks cozy and inviting and nice. Maybe even change the sheets, depending on when was the last time you changed your sheets, to have like a super fresh, clean bed to snuggle in. It really helps. So I always make sure to make the bed after breakfast, and on days like this when I really want to take care, maybe even treat myself to fresh, clean sheets too. Number 16, playing a cozy video game. I'm very curious about this. How many of you play video games? Because I'm a big gamer. And I always have been, but I'm very curious about you. So do you play any games, and what kind of games do you like? I would love to hear in the comments. For me, recently, I've really been getting into cozy games. Stardew Valley was truly an obsession for me for a little while. It is such a fun game. It's very addictive, so I want to pay attention that I'm not playing it too much. But I really enjoyed Stardew Valley. Recently, I'm playing Town the City, which is a cozy city builder, and it is so much fun. So on days like this, I like to allow myself some video game time and have games that are not like too stressful or too like challenging, where you really have to pay attention, where you kind of let yourself get into the cozy vibes. So I would love to hear from you in the comments. Number 17 is coloring in an adult coloring book. So I used to have a coloring book like this and I really enjoyed it. I don't really remember when I decluttered this, when I decluttered my pencils and things like that, or why, or what I did with them. I think I gave them away because I wasn't using them that much anymore. But I did used to have one. I don't currently have one, but I did want to include it in the video because I know how comforting and how nice it can be to just make some coloring pages. It's really nice. And maybe if you don't have a coloring book, but you do have a printer, then you can go online and print something out. There are so many coloring pages that you can find online and just print it out and color it in for yourself. So I did want to include it because it's super fun, and maybe this is one that I will pick up again in the future. Number 18 is repeating a mantra to yourself or setting an intention for your day. One that I really like to use, I borrowed this from Yoga with Adriene. She has a yoga video that is called I Deserve, and then you can fill in the blanks for yourself. So I really like this. On a day like this, I like to ask myself, okay, what do I deserve today? And this can be anything from I deserve to relax, or I deserve to rest, or I deserve to take care of myself. It can also be something silly like I deserve, a pizza or something else. Whatever rings true for you. Another one that I like to use that I came up with by myself is my body is healthy, my mind is vibrant, my soul is at peace. And I kind of repeat that to myself a couple times. Even if it doesn't feel true in the moment, it does always help to get back to that mantra. So feel free to use it if it feels like it could be helpful for you too. Number 19 is to read something short and inspiring. So maybe for you, you have a collection of quotes on a Pinterest board or something that inspires you. Maybe you have a poetry collection or like a short story situation where you can read something. For me, it's these books that I have right here, and you can see that I'm actually wearing my pajama pants right now, which was actually a little bit of a secret, but hey. These are from Heyman Sunim. I love his books. When Things Don't Go Your Way, Love for Imperfect Things, and The Things You Can See Only When You Slow Down. It doesn't matter which one of these, they're all great, and I just pick one of these. They all have these little small parts, and I just open it on a random page and just see, what it has for me, And then number 20, sometimes I also just really feel like I could use a nap. Taking a nap is great. It works for adults too. It promotes rest. relaxation, and it can help with a bunch of stuff. Napping is something that I do want to kind of like be mindful of though. Some people really don't like naps, and I kind of understand that as well. Maybe if you take a little nap during the day, you have a harder time falling asleep at night, in which case I probably wouldn't recommend it. And napping during the day can lead to something which is called sleep inertia, and I have definitely experienced that too, when you're feeling super groggy after your nap. And that is, not great. And something that I've learned that can help to prevent this is to make sure that my naps are not too long. So anything from like 20 to 30 minutes is usually ideal. Or if you're really tired and it doesn't feel like enough time, it is actually recommended to do not like an hour, but then if you're going to do it longer, to make it 90 minutes, because then you can kind of like complete a full sleep cycle and you won't wake up as groggy. The recommended time for taking a nap is somewhere in the early afternoon, especially after lunch. If you're feeling a little bit like that post-lunch dip and you're feeling a little bit tired, somewhere between like 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. is recommended. After 3 p.m. it can negatively impact your sleep at night, so that is something that I try to avoid, but I especially really like it between like 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. And that's it, 20 self-care activities for low energy days. I would love to hear from you in the comments if you also enjoy some of these things, if you maybe would like to try some of them, or if you have some of your own to share. I would love to hear from you. And I think like the biggest takeaway for me when it comes to things like this is that it's okay. It's okay to take care of yourself like this. It doesn't mean that you are weak or lazy or whatever else, we tell ourselves sometimes when we're engaging in that negative self-talk or feeling guilty or low. Don't be. You're human. You deserve self-care, and self-care is only a good thing, because if we can keep our own cups filled, then we can also be there and be available and show up for others and for the world and be a force of positivity in the world. So take care of yourself. That is 100% okay. As always, I want to thank you for sticking around all the way until the end of the video. I really appreciate that. And also an extra special thank you to my channel supporters, because they are one of the biggest reasons why I can do this as my job and keep making the videos for everyone. So I really appreciate their support. If you want to become a channel supporter too, then you can do that either on Patreon or on YouTube memberships. They are the same, so it just depends on which platform you prefer. And if you do that, you get access to 2 extra bonus videos that I post every month. I've been doing that for years, so there are many up on there that you can catch up on in the meantime if you want. And also don't forget to check out Skillshare and get your 1-month free trial, link in the description box and QR code right there. As always, questions, comments, conversations down below. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all again really soon with a new video. Bye-bye. Someone on YouTube a while ago recommended a book series to me. It's called Shady Hollow, and it is so much fun. It's like a cozy murder mystery series, but with woodland creatures, and I'm having a blast with them. So thank you to that viewer who recommended me this series.